Hi, I am Brian Lord, your host slash writer in training for the Kidlit Studio podcast. Our guest today is Liz Miller. She is the executive board president of SEYA, S-E-Y-A, or Southeastern Young Adult Book Festival. SEYA is a free, one-of-a-kind event that takes place annually in March in Murfreesboro that brings together readers and authors. Liz is also a high school librarian and is somehow famously directionally challenged. So we'll get into that in a minute. So Liz, first, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
So I do have a quick message for everybody who is watching and listening. The Kidlit Studio podcast is designed to help newer writers like myself learn how to get better at both the craft and the business. Today's maybe a little more on the business side of things of writing. So just the fact that you're here means that you're taking the time to learn, to improve, to get better than you were yesterday. So you are awesome for doing that. So Liz, I do think it's kind of ironic that somebody who is directionally impaired, as you've told me, is running a book festival with a direction in the title. So it's Southeastern, so I don't even know what is, and you sent that to me. I always ask people, what's some kind of weird thing or quirky thing that I can tell people? And so directionally challenged, tell us about that.
So when I was in college, back before cell phones and GPS, I went to visit a friend in North Carolina, and the directions I was given was take 40 west. Now I'm coming from Middle Tennessee, and this didn't sound right to me. So I asked several people, "Hey, these are the directions I was given. Is this right?" "Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right." I'm like, "Okay, here we go." I made it to Little Rock, Arkansas before I turned around and went the other way. So I am quite infamous for being directionally challenged. I do still manage to get lost, even with the GPS. And fun little fact, I have a tattoo of a compass as a joke.
Nice. Well, very cool. Well, thanks for joining us for this. And so can you tell us kind of in a nutshell, I know we mentioned it, but what is SEYA?
SEYA is a book festival designed to bring young people connect them with authors of the books they love. And the reason that we feel that SEYA is unique is it is designed for middle and high school students. We do have a public day as well, but we are primarily geared towards serving students, young people. And a lot of times when you go to book festivals, all you see is adults.
Mm-hmm.
And so we make it a point to incorporate schools and provide 2 dedicated student days where students are the only ones allowed to attend. And all of the founders are librarians. And so our great goal in life is to help students fall in love with books and help them find books and connect with authors.
So how would a librarian approach this differently, putting together a book festival, than somebody else?
Well, we looked at it from 2 perspectives. First of all, we are great fans, and the idea came on a road trip with 4 librarians, and that is the start of a great story. And we took what we loved about the book festival that we attended, and what we wished was different for pertaining to our students. First of all, we wanted our students to be able to attend in person. Of course, right now, the state of the world today, that's not a reality, but it will be again. And so we wanted to make the festival great for both the authors and the participants. So we also reached out to some local authors that we connected with at our professional conference, and we got their input. And so we brought two sides of that together. We also offer writing workshops, and many of those can be attended not only by students, but some authors, they give us a description and a preferred age range, and sometimes it's for all. So prospective writers could attend, students can attend, teachers, educators can attend. We also encourage educators to attend the public day for professional development as well.
Mm-hmm. So the main core audience for this podcast are writers, people who are learning to be writers, or even established writers as well. What are the best ways that they can engage with a book festival like yours, or just book festivals in general?
Every spring, usually around May or June, we put an application on our website. It's SEYAbookfest.com. And if an author is interested in attending as an author, that's the best way to connect in that way. We also, for prospective authors, we also encourage Bookish People to reach out to us to moderate sessions. We always have moderators for our author sessions. So that's a great way to engage directly with the book festival and to connect with some other authors.
I love that term, Bookish People. Like I say nerd in like a positive way, like I'm a book nerd. So I like that. I identify with that grouping there. So there's always levels of authors and engagement and everything else. What do the best authors do at your book festival?
They make us laugh. They make us cry. They give us all the feels. Those are the best experiences. The authors that our students talk about the most tell the wackiest stories, and they're just real. And what I love about young adult authors is they never talk down to young people. They talk to them as real people. They get them, and that's what I love about middle grade and young adult authors is they get the kids that I teach every day, and they love them just as much as I do.
Do you have any specific example? By the way, how long has SEYA been going on?
Last year, 2020, would have been year number 5, but as we all know, the world ended in March, and so the 2020 Book Festival did not happen. So the 5th Book Festival will be in 2021, and it will be virtual this year.
Okay. And how has that changed? Like how are you going to get the same type of engagement, or at least some of the engagement that you've had in the past?
We are still, as far as promoting it the same way that we would have. We have schools that we reach out to directly, and we have social media that we use for promotion. And so, and in some ways, more people will be able to attend because it is virtual. And so we are excited, whereas we love the in-person. You can't beat personal contact. But we're excited also about the prospect of a new audience. So, we can go nationwide and even worldwide. And so we actually have an author that lives in the UK, and then another author that lives in Switzerland that will be this year's book festival. So that could have never happened before.
Very cool. Very cool. How do you pick which authors are going to present?
We do accept applications. We look at what books are coming out. Our students give some input as well. Diversity and inclusion are very important, so we look at that as well. And we're YA fans ourselves, and so and also as librarians, we do a lot of research, and so we want to make sure that we have a good balance of veteran authors, of debut authors, middle school and high school, different genres. And so we start by making a wish list, and then we send out invitations.
Nice. Now, when it comes to this, actually, you know what? I'm going to hop ahead here. I've got some questions. So on Twitter, you can find us Kidlit Studio. So the first question here is from Kristen O'Donnell Tubb, who is the author of, among many things, the Story Collector series. She's also a Phoebe Buffay impersonator. So she says, Liz is a superstar. I know some awesome SEYA Bookfest. I know how awesome SEYA Bookfest is from an author's perspective. Her question is, I'd love to hear their feedback from what attendees like.
They love of course, in person, the kids' favorite thing is to get to meet the authors and have their books signed. But they love the stories in the panels. They love hearing. There was a session last year where Jeff Zittner, on the way to the book festival, saw a billboard for Demas's, and it had something to do with their roles, and he just went on and on about the roles and why were these roles so great, and the kids were, you haven't had them, you have to try them, they're wonderful. So they it's the authors are great storytellers, and they bring that through not only in their books but in their interactions with young people, and that's to see the students just engage with the authors and to ask such relevant questions, and to look around at a room full of teenagers sitting for an hour just listening to authors talk. It's a sight to behold.
That's great. All right, so next question here is from Rachel Kenyon. She's the author of the picture book You Know How to Love. How do I make the best of my time there as an author with a book to sell?
So our book festival is we structure we're structured by author panels, and so the way that works is we divide up our authors. We create panel topics, and each one has a description. We get the author's input about what they like and what they don't like, and then we put them on author panels. And so engaging with other authors during that panel time, and then answering questions. I'm thinking about my experiences of in person. But this year, again, it'll be a little bit different because it will be virtual. But that would just be the best ways. Just prepare for that. Authors know well ahead of time what sessions they're in. So just think about the session and what you'd like to say, and just be real. Talk to the other authors, engage with them, and engage with the audience.
And do you connect the authors ahead of time? If you say you three are going to be on a panel, and do they know each other, or is it like a surprise to them who they're paired with?
We send the authors the schedule well ahead of time. We also send the student day schedules are only sent to schools. This year we have so many distance learners. We will have a registration for that, but that can be a little bit more public. We're still navigating this new territory. but the public day is open to everyone, and so we actually just finished our schedule, so we're preparing to send that out to authors to preview first. So they'll have that in a couple of weeks, and so they'll have several months to know who they're on a panel with and what panels they're doing.
So I'm also fascinated with Librarian. So I worked for a summer job, so I was kind of obsessed with Librarian. I love walking through and just smelling the books, and I even had a summer job working at an archives within a library. And so what made you want to become, so outside of the book festival, what made you want to become a librarian?
Well, I was actually an elementary education major,
Okay.
and when you are an elementary education major, you take a little bit of everything. And one of those classes was library science. And I absolutely fell in love with it. The teacher that taught the course was an actual librarian, and she held class in her library.
Oh, cool.
And I felt like I was home. And so that made me fall in love with it, and that was my goal. I did teach in the classroom for 6 years, and then I became I had the opportunity to take a library position at an elementary school, which I was there for 10 years. And then because library science is K-12, when I had the opportunity to move up to high school, that's what I did. And of course, I in between there, I got my master's, and so I have a master's in library science as well. But yeah, I mean, I love books, and I love connecting people with other people who love books with new books, and it's fun. When a student walks into the library and is looking for a book, and I love talking with the reluctant readers. Someone who comes in and says, "I don't really want a book. You know, my teacher's making me get one," and so we do what's called the interview. You know, and we start by saying, "Okay, well, you know, what do you like to do? What shows do you like? What movies do you like? What video games do you like?" And kind of get a feel for their interests. And then from there, we guide them to a book we think they'll love. And I love when there was a young man I remember several years ago who I picked out Unwind by Neil Shusterman.
Mhm.
And when he came back and brought the book back, he said, "That's the first book I ever finished." And he came back for more. He wanted to read the rest of them. So those are the best days, absolutely, for sure.
Oh, very cool. Now, how do you pick out the books in general? Like, is it, so I don't know anything, so I'm coming into this cold, so you have to bear with me here. So how do you, like, do you personally pick out what books come into your school's library? Or is there just kind of like a general thing every year you get this box from whomever? How does that work?
Um, in our county, we are the collection development masters, and so I'm very fortunate.
I love that title right there, Collection Development Masters. It sounds like some kind of weird 80s band. I like it. Okay, go ahead. So Collection Development Masters. Okay, go ahead.
I like to make it sound a lot more prestigious
Like
than
you
it
need to have like a cape to have that title, to have that role there.
is. Keeper of the books. And so, I mean, we go about this lots of different ways. We read articles. We follow publishers on social media, and we sign up for newsletters, and we read reviews. And that's the fun part. You know, that's it's what my oldest calls it shopping, and so, you know, I used to ask him, you know, "What did you do at school today?" And he'd tell me, and he's like, "What did you do at school today?" And I was like, "Well, we worked on collection development." He said, "What's that?" And I described it to him. He's like, "So you were shopping all day?" Yes. Yes, we were. We were shopping for books. But we look at our collection, we analyze our collection. We want to make sure that we have something for everyone. So genre and diversity and the whole bag is just it's great to build a collection of books. It's my favorite part of my job.
So who do you follow? Like what newsletters, and be as specific as possible. Because for me, I like to do the research. Like I'm a ways from being published. So for me, it'd be good now to have all this time. So if you're talking to an author, what places do librarians look? So like what newsletters you subscribe to, what social media accounts do you follow? What can you share on that?
We, of course, School Library Journal, Kirkus Reviews. Believe it or not, we get a lot from BuzzFeed.
Mm-hmm.
They have great book articles that come out on book recommendations. We look at, of course, our book vendors, publishers. Lots of every publisher has a newsletter, and Parnassus Books has a newsletter, and so we connect with all those things. And so those are like Penguin Teen and Harper Teen and Fierce Reads and Epic Reads. There's so many out there, and we draw on all those. As librarians, we value our resources very highly.
And on social media, other than, I know you mentioned, like BuzzFeed, are there any certain like accounts that you feel like you need to follow?
All the ones I just named,
Okay,
so
okay. Yeah.
We follow those on social media. One of our favorite ways that I haven't mentioned yet is to follow other authors on Twitter and see who they're recommending.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of our favorite ways to discover people that we haven't heard of before.
Okay, nice. And how has it changed sort of in the past, we'll say 10 or 15 years? How has it changed for you as a librarian doing what you do?
Oh, every year gets more and more exciting. The young adult literature book world is phenomenal, and it gets better and better all the time. And I hear authors all the time, people say, "Oh, you write for children?" Well, I'm just here to tell you, teenagers are the toughest audience to write for. They are idealists, and they're one of the toughest audiences you could have. And the books that are out there are so good and so genuine. And back when we had movies, I think movies are a good example of that, because movie houses have recognized the popularity and the quality of young adult literature. Think of how many movies have come out of young adult books, and that's a perfect example. This is not just writing for children, which in itself is a very important job.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's one of the things, like I like if I look at all the different things, like what are the books that influenced me the most? Were they these business books, now as an adult or whenever? I mean, it's definitely those books I was reading when I was a kid that had the most influence on who I am. And I think that's huge for what you do. You're helping kind of be that Obi-Wan, for kids as they're coming in and looking for guidance on books and what's coming in. So that's why I'm a huge fan of Librarians, everybody else. So so thank you for doing what you do.
Myself as Obi-Wan.
That's twice you've gotten to wear like a cape or something during this interview. You need to get a SEYA cape that you can wear going around as you're the collection master and you're guiding young minds with books and everything else.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what, I guess one last thing here, or actually a couple last things. I'm cheating. So going back to the book festivals here, one question I forgot to ask earlier: what are some mistakes that authors make? It's probably newer ones, but what are some mistakes authors might make when it comes to participating in a book festival?
Now that's a tough question. You mean as far as if they're actually attending a festival, or if they are trying to attend a festival?
I guess both.
Okay. So SEYA Bookfest, the first thing that one of our requirements is that you have to be because our booksellers have to have access to the books, and you have to be an officially published author. So in most cases, we do not take self-pub authors. There are a few exceptions to that, but primarily that's so we do need, like, from Penguin or Harper Teen, or I'm leaving out. I'm drawing a blank,
Sure,
but
sure.
you know, there are lots of great publishing houses. I certainly don't want to offend any of them.
Yeah, yeah.
But and then you know, just reach out. You know, if you don't hear back from us, reach out directly. And if you don't get accepted one year, because we have a balance that we look at, and we only take so many from so many areas. So just keep trying. You know, try again. You know, keep applying over and over and over again. And then if you're actually attending a festival, take that opportunity to connect with other authors, have fun. You know, it's fun for us, it's fun for the kids. And so, you know, that would be my best advice for attending a festival, is to just connect and collaborate and have a good time.
Great. Okay. A couple more questions here. So if you were to go back, this is more for librarians, in case the librarians are watching. If you were to go back, what would you tell yourself? What advice would you give yourself as a beginning librarian?
I would give myself the same advice. Is to have fun and make sure the kids have fun. As an experienced librarian, I understand now that my primary job is to make kids love the library and love to read. And if I have accomplished that, then I have achieved my goal. There's no need to be rigid. There's no need to be strict. You know, our library is not a quiet one. Back in the good old days of 2019 and before school, in our library, it was packed with kids, and you know, they were working and talking and playing games and collaborating. It was a fun place to be. And so that would be my best advice. You know, as education now is overridden with testing. You know, the kids are way over tested, and teachers are burdened with those tests as well. In the library, you're not a tested area, so just have fun, and the kids will learn from the experiences they have in the library. And you know, a lot of my teaching is one-on-one. And as an elementary librarian, you know, I taught every grade level and had lessons, and the most memorable lessons were the fun ones. And those are the things that the kids will remember, and that's what make them fall in love with reading.
All right, last question, probably the hardest one. What is your favorite book?
Oh my goodness. You know, that's like asking me who my favorite child is.
Who's your favorite child? No, I'm kidding.
That's not really a book I can answer. I'm going to go back to my younger years and reveal a little egocentric secret about me. I used to love books with main characters named Elizabeth. I was obsessed with characters that had my own name. And so one of my most loved books as a teen was Pride and Prejudice.
Awesome. Awesome. My 13-year-old is just finished that not long ago. So she's totally into that period and everything else. So that's great. Well, cool. Well, Liz, thank you so much for being a guest here. Oh, and can you tell people where they can find information about SEYA?
Absolutely. On our website it's seyabookfest.com, and you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at SEYA Bookfest, and we're SEYA Bookfest on Facebook as well. So look us up on social media, go to the website, and all the information that you need to participate in this year's festival will be on that site.
Great, great. Well, thank you again for those watching and listening. Check us out, Kidlit Studio on YouTube, Twitter, and then also on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, anywhere else you listen to podcasts. So thank you again, everyone, for listening, and thank you, Liz.
Thank you.